As I mentioned, so far we talked about the criteria of marking system, about TA, task achievement or task response, and also CC, coherence, cohesion. We talked about, let's say, the band descriptors that the majority only focus on band 9 and they study those things. On the contrary, we need to study the below marks like 4, 3, and 5 and 6 to see what wrong was with them and avoid making those problems or mistakes, right? In order to learn from their mistakes. And we saw the word progression there. So it means we need to have a good progression and we need to come up with brilliant ideas, and that's not enough. We need to support those ideas in the best way possible, you remember? And then we talked about the fact that we need to, uh, for example, put a great deal of effort in our body part, because body is the most important part of the essay, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, conclusion is the most important, and then introduction. Introduction adds to the beauty and the luxury parts of the essay, but it is also important because if you write an effective and well structured, let's say, introduction, it helps the examiner to give you a better mark, at least. For example, when you are 6.5, with the help of that introduction, you may get 7. So that's why we need to consider introductions as well. And for the introductions, we mentioned that you have to put, let's say, two different types of information.
Mm.
You either have two, or in maximum you have three sentences in your introduction. You have to keep it simple, brief, yet effective. You have to place what kind of information in your let's say, engagement part.
Engagement part.
No, the introduction, sorry, I made a mistake.
Oh,
In the introduction part, what kind of information will you include?
I
You
think
tell
what
me, you start with what?
I what I have to start by with my education and my job and
No, 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 no.
okay.
We are talking about writing.
Oh,
You
writing.
have a topic, and then you have at least four paragraphs, right? We said we
All
have,
right.
in order to get a good mark in coherence, you need to have introduction, two body paragraphs, and one
Yes.
conclusion, right? So, what kind of information do you usually put inside the introduction section?
Uh, in introduction, I have to the core point. I have to write the core point of the uh,
Without the
subject
details. Without the
without the
details. But you are not going to start your introduction with your thesis statement or your topic sentence, right?
yes.
You are going to start with an introduction with, for example, something like paraphrasing the question, or you can start with, let's say, a quote, a question, an introduction. So you can either start with a totally unrelated topic, but you have to link it to the topic in a very beautiful way. So you
Yeah.
start with something not connected to the topic, but you link it to the topic. This is one way. If you can't, you can paraphrase the question in your own words, using your own grammar, using different lexical resources, using different types of vocabulary there. And you can restate the question, but in a different format. And
But
then, and you can also have both of them, starting with an introduction, then you can have your paraphrase, and then you need your thesis statement, the most important sentence. You have to include what? You have to include some important information. Like what? Like your viewpoint. What is your viewpoint? If the question says, do you agree or disagree? What are the advantages and disadvantages? What are the problems and the solutions? Discuss both views. So, what is your viewpoint? It's better to share your viewpoint indirectly in that sentence, to share your viewpoint, and you need to give me the outline of what your whole essay is about. So, in the last sentence of your introduction, I can fully understand, I can vividly understand that this essay is about this, and this is your viewpoint. But you never give details, you just mention something because you have to keep the examiner up in the air. You need to do something that you make them tempted to go down and read your essay, right?
yeah.
So this was everything we discussed with regards to the introduction section. But as we mentioned, since body parts are the most important parts of your essay, we need to learn how to get a better CC, get a better TA, get a better grammar range, vocabulary range, and more importantly, how to have a better viewpoint. What is your idea about that topic? Your idea has to be logical, relevant, yes, and if it is a unique way of, for example, considering, it is really nice and pleasant for examiners. The angle you are pointing, the angle you are thinking about the topic is important. And after that idea, you need to come up with a plan to support that idea. How can you support? You can either share at least two reasons for your claim. So in your body, you have a claim. For example, you say video games have counterproductive or, for example, harmful effects on children. This is a claim, right? This is your idea.
Should we start with hypothesis?
Hypothesis?
Yes.
Yeah, you can start, but you need to prove it.
No.
And be careful, your idea should not be something in general, very direct to the point. So you should say, in my opinion, the first important influence of video games on children, for example, is aggressiveness in their behavior. Your topic sentence, your idea, whatever your claim is, has to be direct to the point. You cannot have generalization on it, right?
Yeah.
So then you need to support your claim. How can you support your claim? You can either give two reasons at least, or one reason and one example. You have to make the examiner believe that whatever you are saying is true. You have to convince, not persuade, you have to convince the examiner that your viewpoint is applicable and real. They have to feel it, that yes, That's it. Of course, if you do this, the result will be this. I agree. You should do something that the examiner agrees with you.
Sorry, what's the difference of convince and persuade?
Because sometimes when you persuade someone, they may feel bad and unhappy at the end because somehow you forced them to do something. For example, you persuade a little child not to drink so much Coca-Cola or soda because you tell them a lot about the harmful ingredients. Scientifically, they accept it that you are right about it. They shouldn't drink, right? But they don't like it because soda, Coca Cola, is tasty. They like it. But you persuaded them not to drink. They may feel sad at the end. But when you convince someone, they feel happy because you gave them reasonable ideas and facts, and somehow they think that you have saved them. That's why. That's why I say you need to convince your examiner about a topic rather than persuading. Sometimes you don't have, let's say, useful or practical supportive sentences or examples. You just say something to complete your paragraph,
No.
to force the examiner to believe that your idea is proven, but it's not, right? So you need to plan. 1 minute, you need to take your time for 1 minute or 2 minutes, plan your structure, whatever information you are going to put there. Think about your body paragraphs first. Think about the way you can give reasons. Think about the way you can provide examples for your ideas. Because your body paragraphs are the heart of your essay. And you have to have progression. You have to give reasons and examples. So first brainstorm, choose the topics that you can provide answers and reasons and examples. Only focus on them. And do you remember we also talked about area, core, and prompt? I told you these things help
Yes.
you. These things help you to consider all aspects of a question. Because if the question says, today the majority of educated women would like to have jobs in large corporations, if you start writing about women who have jobs, then your TA, your task achievement, will be below 6 or 5 because you didn't address all parts of the question. In order not to forget about the different parts of the question, you can underline the area. Area is the general viewpoint of the question, the most important topic. So the whole question is about educated women. So your area is educated women. Then one level smaller than the area is the core. Core is the fact that educated women like to have jobs. So like to have jobs is your core. Large corporations are the smallest proportion of your question, the prompt. So the large corporations. So when you do this, when you underline educated women have jobs, the large corporations, you can quickly bear in mind that, hey, I need to be attentive and careful. I need to address 3 aspects in my writing. I need to cover why educated women would like to have jobs in large corporations. So whatever your viewpoint is, whatever your piece of writing is about, has to involve these 3 items. If you miss any of these concepts here, your TA will be down. In order to get a good TA, you need to cover the three of these aspects. When you cover, you have the, let's say, minimum, for example, average, but how to get a better mark in TA. That depends on the way you present and your idea, how you combine these three things in your answer. Okay?
Mm.
So that was what we talked about in terms of area and core and prompts, right? So